Hi, my name is Akash Simha and I'm a contributor to the KStars astronomy software. In this video I will show you how to use the basic features of KStars. Now I already have another video where I show you how to configure KStars to your liking. I show you the basic features of basic settings in KStars and how you can tweak them. In this video I will focus more on using KStars, on how to obtain information about objects, how to pan the map, how to zoom in, zoom out, and so on and so forth. But I'm going to assume that you are starting with an unconfigured install of KStars, in which case you will start by seeing this setup wizard. So if you click the next button, this wizard will help you set up your city, your location. It could be your observing location or your home location, and it offers downloading extra data, which I will not cover right now. I will talk about it later. Then you get this tip of the day, which you can enable or disable. This is sometimes useful. It tells you details about how to use KStars or gives you some information about astronomy. So let me close it for now. Although I did show how to configure KStars, I will make some configuration changes that make it easier for me to use right now. The first thing that I would like to show is how to set the time in KStars. So you can say set time. Let's say you want to see what the sky looks like in July of 2016, and then you can say OK. And now the time is set to July of 2016, so this is what the sky looks like at 9:35 p.m. Central Standard Time on July 17, 2016. Or you can set time to now, where it will automatically set the time to your system clock. That's how you set the time. Then we will talk about panning the map. Panning the map is done by a drag and drop. You drag the mouse cursor, you choose a point, and you can pan the map. You can also use the arrow keys to pan the map. The shift modifier makes it faster, and the control modifier I think makes it well, control doesn't modify. So you usually want to check shift and control modifiers since they change the speed. Finally, how to zoom in and zoom out. There are three ways to zoom in and zoom out on the map in KStars. One of them is to use the mouse scroll feature, which is what I'm doing right now. So you just scroll the mouse up and it zooms in, and you scroll down and it zooms out. The other option is to use the plus and minus keys. If you use the plus key without using shift, that is equal sign, then it zooms in, and the minus key zooms out. If you use the shift modifier, so you're typing plus and underscore, the rate of zooming in and zoom out becomes smaller, and the step size becomes smaller. And you can also use the control modifier, which makes it even more finer. Okay, you can also use the third way to zoom in and zoom out is to use these buttons here. They might look different depending on your version of KStars and version of KDE software compilation, the icon theme that you are using, but they're usually on this side. So there's zoom in and zoom out. Right. So that's in a nutshell how to pan the map, zoom in and zoom out, and set the time. We will now talk about how to look at information on objects. So if you hover on an object, it'll give you its identification. For example, there's Betelgeuse, there's Rigel. The reason you see these small things is because there are faint comets all scattered all over. So that's why you see this dialog pop up everywhere. It's trying to identify the nearest object. So the most important and useful menu in KStars is the one that you get when you right click on an object. So I just right clicked on the moon, and you see this context menu. So the context menu varies slightly depending on whether you right click on, that's a comet. This feature has been, this is a slightly older version of KStars. the newer version has been fine-tuned to pick out stars more than comets and so on and so forth. So it's a little fussy with this old version. If you're troubled by it, I suggest that you upgrade as soon as you can. So here's the identification for a star, the context menu for a star. So you can also right-click on the empty sky. Oh well, that's a comet there. So let's really go and find empty sky. So if you find empty sky, then it still pops up a menu, and you have certain options that you can use. Okay, so let's look at the menu for a star. So let me, for example, center Capella. The first option here is to center and track. So this makes puts Capella in the center of the map, and the track part means that if I am running the simulation clock, it will always keep Capella on the center, and everything will appear to rotate around Capella. So it centers and tracks the object. Okay. Next, I'll show some of these more advanced features like flags in later videos. Let's look at angular distance. This tool allows you to compute the distance between 2 points in the sky, angular distance. So it's showing you the angular distance is 11 degrees, 53 minutes, 24 seconds. So similarly, you can compute angular distance between any two objects. Sometimes if KStars in the newer versions, not in this version, but in the newer versions, if KStars knows the distance to the individual stars, it will also try to compute the physical distance, the actual spatial separation between stars. This is only for stars in the newer versions. Here's an NGC object, a deep sky object, which is an open cluster, and you can again center it, or you can, for example, find angular distance from here to, let's say, Capella, and it will show you the angular distance. Okay, so that's the angular distance feature. Now let's look at the details dialog. This is probably the other most useful feature in this menu. It shows you some information about the object. So here it says what is the spectral type of the star. It's a G8 star in Perseus. Here's magnitude, the distance that KStars knows, B minus V index if it knows it, and the position tab gives you complete list of its coordinates, including J2000 RA index, the RA index for the current epoch, the azimuth and altitude. If you don't know what any of these terms means, you can click on these links and they will open information if the help files are properly installed. I don't know if I have the help correctly installed here. I'm just going to try. Might not work. Okay, it did not work. But if you have the help set up correctly, documentation, it will open up an info page about right ascension and various epochs and things like that. So here's a table of the rise time, the transit time and set time for this object, and gives you basic information, what's the altitude at transit and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's the position information. Now that was for a star. Let's go ahead and click on a deep sky object. So here's the open cluster again. So it tells me its magnitude, its size, and again the position tab. But this time I have a few more things. If some of these objects have information links and image links, so you can access them. So here's some more advanced features that I will skip for now, and you can also log some observation information here. An interesting feature is that if you click on this, it'll Google search for that object, and hopefully if Google returns the correct images for the object, you can actually go ahead and set that as an image so you know what it looks like. So I will cover some more of I will cover the observing list completely in an entirely different video, because that's a big topic. Finally, let's go and look at some object that is more well known and has some interesting links. Okay, that's Demiran's Nebula. I need Orion Nebula, right? So if you look at links, KStars already has links to Wikipedia, Hubble Space Telescope image, and so on and so forth, which you can also access right. Oops. Okay, so which you can also access. Okay, there's Orion Nebula. You can access from here, and so it goes and downloads that image and shows it to you. Okay, so that's the summary of the pop-up menu. Maybe we'll look at one or two more features of the pop-up menu. So let's look at a planet. So maybe let's go to Saturn. Oh, I should talk about how to find objects. I haven't said anything about that. So here's the Find Object button. You can also access this feature from Control F, and if you type the name of an object, it'll take you there. Okay, so it's asking me if I should go below the horizon. I'll say go anyway and turn off the horizon. So there's Saturn. Okay, so it looks like a star when you're at high zoom, of the appropriate color, but as you zoom in, it shows you a picture of Saturn. So that is really Saturn. Right click on Saturn, and an interesting feature is that's special for planets is add trail. So now that I've added trail to Saturn, if I allow the simulation to run, let me increase the rate to a sidereal day. It shows you what is the path taken by Saturn across the sky. So right now you're actually seeing the retrograde motion of Saturn, slowing down, stopping, and making a U-turn. That's in summary the right-click context menu of KStars, which is probably the most powerful and useful, most frequently used feature of KStars. Now notice also that it shows some basic information right here, okay, without clicking on the details, so you can use that to get quick information like magnitude and spectral time for stars, or rise time, set time, in which constellation if you clicked on the empty sky. Now another great feature of KStars, which I will close this video with, is the ability to bring up images from the Digitized Sky Survey, DSS. So if I click on any point in the sky and say show DSS image, what KStars does is it goes to the server that has the entire sky's images digitized, and it gets a picture of that portion of the sky for you. And you can do some basic operations on the image. Let's look at some slightly more interesting object. Maybe this globular cluster here, M4. So I'm going to say show DSS image, and it's going to pull up an image of that region of the sky. So you will see M4 in the image. So there it is. So this is probably a heavily useful feature for visual observers who use their telescopes to look at the sky. On this note, I'll close this video. Thank you.